Hey guys, Harrison1, I'm back at it once again with a brand new video for you, and welcome back to the Online Racer. F1 2012 online gameplay mixed in with commentary topics from your favourite F1 director. Maybe. In this episode, this is called the Jules Bianchi special, mainly because this whole episode pretty much revolves around him in some way, shape or form. It's like the actor Kevin Bacon. You know how you can tie any actor in the world to Kevin Bacon in 6 films or less? This is kind of like that with Jules Bianchi when it comes to recent Formula 1 news and topics and things like that that's come up recently. So, first of all, got to talk here about, you know, the recent Force India news. Force India last week finally declared their second driver. The last free seat available on the grid was gone, and it has gone to Adrian Sutil, who has come back with the Force India team after a year out, after a certain bar incident which we won't talk about very much in this episode. But, you know, I have no problem with Adrian Sutil being back with the team. A lot of people said, Jules Bianchi deserved it, you know, and, you know, he deserved a chance. Like, using the term deserved is kind of, it's not really an argument. It's just saying, you know, you think he should be there. Why? You know what I mean? It's not much. It's not really what you call a valid argument. But at the same time, Bianchi was a really solid test driver, and he was with the team for a long time. He's been around Formula 1 for a long time. But, you know, I guess karma, you know, helped him out a little bit and got him a decent seat in the end, which I'll get to later. But I've never had a problem with Adrian Sutil. He's been a little bit reckless here and there, but he's always shown good pace. He knows the Force India team. He knows the guys that work there. He knows the basic principles of the car. I don't see why people are saying it was a bad move. I know people like to take the piss out of him for his bar fight incident, but before then he was a solid driver, capable of good results, and I think he was showing signs of improvement as well as his F1 career was progressing. So I think it's a good snatch for Force India to bring back a guy who knows the team, has got a decent amount of experience, who is still young and can get better, and in general will give the rest a good challenge, I think. So, you know, fair play to the guys at Force India. I think it's a good signing. Yeah, Kamui Kobayashi was still on the board, and, you know, he would have been a perfectly fine guy for that seat as well. But overall, I don't think you can fault them for bringing back Adrian Sutil. I think it was a pretty solid move. It's a shame, though, that Kobayashi won't be back next year. Same for Heikki Kovalainen, by the looks of things, unless something drastic happens over the course of the season. But they were all very solid guys, but this is just how Formula 1 is these days. Speaking of which, the big Marussia news that came out last week as well, how Luiz Razia, who was confirmed as Marussia's #2 driver through testing to back up Max Chilton, their other rookie and Englishman, was unceremoniously cut from the team after sponsors withheld their payments towards the team. I'm not 100% crystal clear on the story, but from what I've been told by you, the Harrison 101 audience, I've been told that basically his sponsors didn't pay the team in time, so they pretty much cut him and replaced him with Jules Bianchi, who, you know, was fitted in for a seat like an hour after Razia was cut. It was ridiculous just how you know, just how close everything came together. It was like, you know, Marussia were not playing around on that one at all. They got him in there, they got the seat molding done, and he was already taking pictures with the team like almost immediately. It was ridiculous how fast it was all happening, and how Sky Sports just couldn't keep up with it all. Yeah, I couldn't believe that. I mean, it was nice Bianchi finally got a seat in the end, because I think he's a guy that has been around so long he deserves a shot, in my opinion. But at the same time, I do feel very sorry for Luiz Razia. It's not his fault that his sponsors didn't pay through in time, and it just goes to show you what kind of, you know, sport we're looking at now, where it's all financially driven and whatnot, you know. I mean, people were telling me, Dre, talk about Pastor Maldonado now as well, which I'll get to a little bit down the line as well. But Formula 1 is really becoming a young man's game, and I fear that when Bernie steps down, however that happens, maybe, like I said, maybe he steps down, or maybe due to ill health, maybe he passes away while he's in charge, or something like that. But you know, whenever the Bernie era ends, I fear that Formula 1 could become a rich man's playground, where it just becomes the guys who can afford to get in the seat with little racing experience, rather than the guys who deserve it on merit and on ability, you know, to take the seat. Just one of those things where, you know, it highlights just how money-driven these teams are, especially Marussia, who has had financial issues, and, you know, a bottom feeder team who didn't get as much money as they were hoping for because they were only the second of the bottom feeder teams last year. I mean, Cater and pipped him to the post on the final race of the year. That probably cost them a good few million in terms of advertising money and whatnot. So I'm guessing Razia was well sponsored, you know, in terms of potentially bringing money, and that's why they gave him a shot. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, I don't want to see Formula 1 become a rich man's playground. I don't think it will ever get to that stage fully, but there are signs there that makes you think, this is a cause for concern more than anything else. But also, speaking of money, a quick note, people are talking about this, you know, rest in peace to Hugo Chavez, the president of Venezuela, who passed away a couple of days ago. I think it was Wednesday. Was it Wednesday? No, it was Tuesday he passed away. It was like almost directly after the United Real Madrid Champions League game that came on. It was like, as soon as that happened, boom, Hugo Chavez dead. It was like, oh, okay, how about that? And people were joking like, oh, Pastor Maldonado's toast now, and I'm like, the F1 community came up with some Venezuelan jokes pretty darn quickly. I was impressed. I think it was Oliver who was the guy that sent me a joke about Pastor Maldonado within like 5 minutes of Chavez being announced dead. I'm impressed. But at the same time, people are saying, oh, is this going to affect his position within the team? No, I don't think it will. It wasn't Chavez directly who was giving Maldonado money, it was the Venezuelan government. And just because he's dead doesn't mean the government is going to suddenly change anytime soon. Chavez was democratically elected, you know, so there's going to be a whole new process for that as well, like you get in this country. And, you know, until we hear any news otherwise, I don't see any reason why Pastor Maldonado's financial backing and funding would suddenly change just because Chavez kicked the bucket. If I'm wrong, I will correct myself in a future video. But until then, I don't think that anybody's got any reason to be concerned. And I think if Pastor has another good season, I think he'll be in the status of being too good to drop anyway. Because top teams will come knocking. I mean, they came knocking for Sergio Perez last season. Because, I mean, he had one really outstanding year with a few really good drives. And boom, top four seat in Formula 1 opened up to him completely. I mean, was Perez the best option on the board to bring in? Maybe Hulkenberg, but, you know, that's a story for a different video anyway. But, you know, it kind of all ties back to what Martin Whitmarsh was saying, that paid drivers don't deserve to be in Formula 1 and whatnot, blah, 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 blah. I'll be talking about that in a future episode for sure, because, you know, is Formula 1 becoming a young man's game? Is it more financially driven, etc.? I'll be talking about that more in the future, but hopefully, you know, I'll talk about that soon. Maybe next week before the new season starts. Next weekend, it's all exciting now. A couple of bits of news I want to mention as well. As a wrestling fan, rest in peace, Paul Bearer, aka Percy Pringle, aka William Moody, one of the great wrestling managers of all time. As a big wrestling fan, that one hurt, definitely. Around the Corner debuts this Sunday. Sunday night, be live. It's going to be a Google Hangout stream. It's going to be me hosting with Elusive Kev, Rapid Scorpion, Avrava, and Ryan L83. So I hope you guys can come in and watch that. It's going to be the first F1 Debate Show podcast on YouTube. It's going to be awesome, and I hope you guys all tune in and enjoy it. But until then, I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of the video. I've been Harrison101. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching, and sayonara.
doing, you stupid cunt?